With the 10th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select
JJ McCarthy,
quarterback, Michigan.
You've heard me talk about it before, but accuracy, arm strength, anticipation, he's got really good technique and fundamentals. And if we rewind that right there, you're going to see all three of those traits coming into play.
The Minnesota Vikings were a team that struggled all of last season at the QB position, and with injuries to key guys and losing Kirk Cousins in the offseason, it was clear what the Vikings needed to do in the draft. And really, they were in the perfect position to get who they wanted in JJ McCarthy. Like pretty much everyone in the media, I think McCarthy is a great fit in Minnesota. He's a little bit older, has some decent experience, and is coming into a solid system and an offense with a lot of firepower around him. So in this video, I'm going to be talking all about the JJ McCarthy pick and what the Vikings have done this offseason and why I think they restored the direction of their future. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 20k subscribers, and with your support, I believe we can get there super fast. During the lead up to the NFL Draft, JJ McCarthy became convinced that the Vikings, with Kevin O'Connell calling the plays, 17-year NFL veteran Josh McCown overseeing quarterbacks, and the cast of Pro Bowl offensive players populating the huddle, were the best spot for a rookie quarterback in 2024. After the Vikings drafted him 10th overall on Thursday night, McCarthy said the other 5 first-round quarterbacks all shared his opinion. First, the organization's outstanding, and then you have the players and pieces that are around it and the coaches, McCarthy said in his introductory news conference. It was just a perfect fit for me. I talked with a lot of quarterbacks throughout this process, and it was the perfect fit for them too. Obviously, it's a huge honor, and I just hope to prove them right. If he is shown to be correct about the Vikings, and the Vikings about him, it might be because of the careful process the team hopes to use for the longevity of McCarthy's career. McCarthy, who turned 21 on January 20th, was the youngest quarterback taken in the first round. And he came from a Michigan offense that ran 60.8% of the time on its way to a national championship last season. So McCarthy only threw just 654 times in his final 2 years there. But that doesn't take anything away from his ability to be a great QB. Michigan just had such a dominant rushing attack with Blake Corum and that offensive line that they didn't have to use him as much to be successful. And the Vikings definitely don't plan to rush McCarthy's development. They will follow an individualized development plan they created for each of the quarterbacks they considered drafting. One that requires McCarthy to hit specific benchmarks and gives coach Kevin O'Connell full authority to make the timing decision. The approach is to avoid the worst case scenario, which is ruining JJ's career by putting him in too early. Looking at the depth chart going into this season around McCarthy, the Vikings now have Aaron Jones at running back, so they will have the ability to attack. I'm not saying Jones is still in his prime, but he's a reliable back that can also catch passes, and then they of course have Justin Jefferson at receiver, who may be one of, if not the best receivers in the league, and they also have Jordan Addison and Brandon Powell behind him. Then at tight end, they have TJ Hawkinson, and they have CJ Ham at fullback, who is also a decent player. The Vikings also have an offensive line that was pretty good in 2023, but obviously, that doesn't guarantee that will hold to be true in 24. Anyways, now I want to go into further depth on the receiving core that JJ will have to throw to, because obviously for a rookie QB, having weapons is super important. Last season, Justin Jefferson didn't have the best year and was injured, but when he was on the field, he put up 1,074 yards with 5 touchdowns and an average of nearly 16 yards per catch. So even coming off the injury, he to me is a top 3 receiver in the league. And then the guy behind him in Jordan Addison is another receiver with a very, very bright future. After putting up 911 yards with 10 touchdowns last season off 70 receptions. So basically, the dynamic duo is there. All the Vikings need is to get a third guy, which I think they will be able to establish with all of their young talent. But ultimately, they just need to stay healthy because that has been Minnesota's curse over the last few years. Moving on to the backfield, this Vikings team has a very well-rounded group. As mentioned before, they went out and got Aaron Jones to be the main guy of the bunch, and I think this will be great for a young QB like JJ. Jones has had some issues with injuries, but when he is on the field, he is still a big threat, especially since he is so good coming out of the backfield and catching passes. Jones was able to rack up over 100 yards in his last 5 games with the Packers, including the playoffs, where he faced some really good defenses. The rest of the group is rounded out by guys like Ty Chandler and Myles Gaskin. I think that both of these guys are going to be able to give Jones a good rest while also still being threats on the field. And maybe the best part about this group is who they will be running behind. Like I said, the The Vikings O-line was a top 10 unit last year, with the ascension of left tackle Christian Darrisaw creating a great tackle duo with Brian O'Neill on the other side. Right guard Ed Ingram showed signs of growth last year as well, and the unit would end with the third best pass block win rate in the league. On the other side of the ball, the Vikings are looking to have a rebound year, and most importantly, stay healthy. The Vikings hired Brian Flores as their DC last year, and for a solid stretch of the season, they looked like a top 10 unit. But then injuries to multiple key guys brought them back down to the bottom 10. Names like Harrison Smith and Byron Murphy will be returning, while the team also went out and signed Andrew Van Ginkel, the ex-Miami Dolphin outside linebacker. With that said, Brian Flores will have to have this unit make the jump and play like they did when healthy last year. With the rookie QB coming in, it will be crucial for him to play with a lead or in close games, and I believe that this will fall in the hands of the defense. Will they be able to shut opponents down? Will they be able to create turnovers and short fields for their offense? Well, we will have to wait and see. Now, while JJ was obviously the star pick of the draft for the Vikings and one of the biggest picks of the draft itself, the Vikings selected some other really good players that they hope can make an impact on the team. With the 17th pick in the draft, the Vikings selected outside linebacker Dallas Turner from Alabama. Turner is a great athlete who is long and very explosive off the edge. He has great closing speed and a quick burst, but will have some things to work on before reaching the next level. After Turner, the Vikings didn't have a pick until the 4th round, and there they went with corner Kyrie Jackson from Oregon. Jackson has amazing size and strength for a corner on the outside, but lacks experience. He only played in 14 games in his college career. Due to this, he is inconsistent with technique, and while he can have a great punch and press coverage, it just doesn't always happen. As for the rest of the draft, the Vikings went with some O-line depth and also took a kicker from Alabama. With 4 of their 7 picks coming in the 6th round or later, it will be hard to expect their rookies to make a huge impact on the team outside the top 3. The good news is that the Vikings are in a generally young division. While the Packers and Lions look like they will be the dominant powerhouses, it isn't always a guarantee for teams to simply run it back and make playoff runs. Teams who miss the Super Bowl by a game rarely are able to recover, even though dynasties like the Patriots and Chiefs have our minds thinking otherwise. NFL defenses will have a complete year of film on Jordan Love now, and as for the Bears, well, they are in a similar situation to the Vikings as they just drafted their franchise QB. If JJ is able to put it together under the mind of coach Kevin O'Connell and the defense can be in the top half of the league, the Vikings can be a team that soars under the radar this season and sneaks into the playoffs. Let me know what you guys think about this Vikings upcoming season. Do you have faith in the national champion JJ McCarthy, or do you think he will struggle? Will the defense struggle like it has in the past few seasons, or will it finally see improvement? As always, thanks so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet so you don't miss out on any other future content, and until next time, I will see you all later.